All right. The monetization of deficit, yes. 40% says diversion. CAG has said that, yes. 22% fiscal GST deficit, okay. What are the objectives of budget? Though reallocation of resources, reducing inequality of income and wealth, contributing to the economic growth, a country's economic growth is headed on the rate of investment and saving. Okay, bringing economic stability, policies such as deficit budget during deflation and surplus budget during inflation assist in balancing the price of the country, managing public enterprise, and reducing the regional differences. There are three types of budgets. The first is zero based budget, that all the expenses are evaluated each time a budget is made, and the expense must be justified for each new period. Okay, starts from zero base, and every function of the government is analyzed for its needs and cost. Outcome based budget, and analyzing the progress of each ministry and department. It measures the developmental outcome of all the government programs. It was first introduced in the year of 2005. Gender budgeting is an outcome oriented approach to the government fiscal policy that seeks to use country's budget as a tool to resolve societal gender inequality and promote inclusive development. Okay. Government deficits, there are many different types of deficits. The first is the revenue deficit, the revenue expenditure minus the revenue received. It implies that the government is dissaving and is using up savings of the other sectors of the economy to finance the parts of its consumption expenditure. Fiscal deficit, it's a total expenditure minus total receipt. A receipt includes revenue receipt plus non-debt creating capital receipt. It indicates total borrowing requirements from the financing side. The gross fiscal deficit is equal to net borrowing at home plus borrowing from RBI plus borrowing from abroad. Is fiscal deficit advantageous? Yes and no. If yes, then it creates a new capital asset. Okay, it funds capital infrastructure. It boosts economy. It has an enabling impact. Okay, mostly in the developing countries, we find that they are already having a fiscal deficit. Okay, what are the implications? The negative implications. So it creates a vicious circle of debt trap. Okay, and for the borrowing, inflammatory pressure. Yes, partial use, because only primary deficit, that is the fiscal deficit minus the interest payment, is available for the financing expenditure, right? Rest of the money goes in payment of interest. It retards future growth. Yes, crowding out effect. Yes, difficult for corporates to borrow. Yes. What are the measures to reduce fiscal deficit? Well, reducing public expenditure. Yes, rationalizing subsidies, avoid leakages by increasing vigilance and using new technologies. Austerity steps to curtail non-planned expenditure. Increasing revenue such as tax base, tax evasion, emphasis on direct tax to increase revenue. Restructuring and sale of shares in public sector unit. Focus on disinvestment among others. Okay, so these are the ways, okay, to reduce your fiscal deficit. What is primary deficit is fiscal deficit minus the interest payment. Effective deficit is that revenue deficit minus the revenue expenditure that leads to the capital formation, such as for instance, if uh, if for the defense they are given certain payment from a certain part of that defense is used to for capital infrastructure, then that would be effective revenue deficit. Okay, deficit financing in India, demand defined as borrowing from Reserve Bank of India against the issue of treasury bill and running down the accumulated cash reserve. Okay, rationale for deficit financing is it fails to mobilize the adequate resource and achieving growth targets. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is the use of government revenue collection, mainly tax, but also non-tax revenue such as disinvestment and loan, and expenditure, spending to influence the economy. Attaining rapid economic growth is one of the key goals of the fiscal policy. Okay. Objectives is the objective economic growth, price stability, inflation, full employment, elevating the rate of capital formation both at the public and the private sector through taxation, financing its numerous projects, providing stimulus to elevate the saving rate, incentivize to the private sector to expand the activity, minimize inequality of wealth. Okay, so these are the ways. Parliamentary Budget Office. I think it is the opportunity cost of populist scheme can be made to reject populist scheme. Okay, most of the OECD states have created parliamentary budget office. MPs have lesser financial knowledge, so there's a need for parliamentary budget office. It reduces populist budgeting. Okay, relevant at the time of majority government, and it increases the scrutiny of government expenditure. Okay, the state finance, uh, tax revenue, non-tax revenue, and grants. Okay, scheme of financial assistance to the state for capital expenditure, and they gave 12,000 crore rupees, and they can borrow up to 0.5% of the state gross stat domestic product. Okay, raise the borrowing limit to 5%. Okay, ways and means advances, yes. Lowering the share of state in the divisible pool, such as the cess and surcharge, are about 36.6%, which has reduced to 32%. Increasing in the reliance of borrowing, such as 20% of the total expenditure. Yes, Discom is in stress populist measures. Shortfall in GST compensation, for instance, only about 77,000 crore versus 3 lakh crore that was promised. Article 293 of this clause 3, the state government are required to take the centre's permission to fresh borrowing if they are indebted to the government of India. Okay. Uh, Foreign Regulation and Budget Management Act 2003. Fiscal Regulation and Budget Management Act, I beg your pardon. Institutionalize financial discipline, reduces fiscal deficit, improve in macroeconomic management, overall management of public fund by moving towards the balanced budget, equitable and manageable distribution of the country's debt, reduction of fiscal deficit and revenue deficit, yes, achieving intergenerational equity in fiscal management by reducing the debt burden to the future generation, long-term macroeconomic stability, fiscal and monetary policy coordination, transparency in fiscal operation. Okay, so these are the advantages of having this. What are the relaxation under FRBM Act? There is a escape clause under Section 4 Clause 2. Okay, Section 4 Clause 2, escape clause, that national security, war, national calamity, collapse of agriculture, structural reforms, a decline in real output, growth of quarter by at least 3%. So these are the escape clause. Amendment, medium-term fiscal policy statement, 3-year rolling target for fiscal indicator, fiscal policy strategy statement, strategic fiscal priority, taxation policies, key fiscal measures, and an evaluation of adherence to the fiscal management principle of this act. Okay, macroeconomic framework statement, forecast, the enumerating the growth prospects of the country, GDP growth, revenue balance, gross fiscal balance, and external account balance. Okay, medium-term expenditure framework statement is a 3-year rolling target for the prescribed expenditure indicator. Okay. The freebie debates, okay, differentiate between distortive subsidy and targeted support to the vulnerable household. Okay, so we need to differentiate this. Notion that incentive provided to the corporates are affirmative actions and the same provided to poor are freebie. This mindset should be changed among policymakers. Okay. Okay. Talking about GST. GST, goods and service tax, is all weather again phenomena that anywhere anytime you can expect question on this. GST is a value added tax, destination based tax levied on most of the goods and services sold for the domestic consumption. Based on the Asim Das Gupta panel, 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, Article 279A calls for GST Council, 1/3, 2/3, and the majority of 3/4. Okay, one nation, one tax. What are the main features of GST? Okay, central's taxes that are subsumed in GST are central excise duty, additional custom duty, service tax, surcharge, central sales tax. State value-added service, entertainment tax, octroi, luxury tax, tax on lottery, betting, gambling, state cess and surcharge, entry tax, purchase tax. Okay. So mainly it is actually this service tax and value added tax, which is very it had a cascading effect. Applicable on supply side, yes, destination based tax, dual GST, central state levy taxes on common base, GST rates to be mutually decided. We have CGST, SGST, and IGST, and which are decided by GST Council. Okay, multiple rates. For now, at least for now, we have four rates. That is 5, 12, 16, and 28. So we have been reducing from 6 to 4, which is a positive sign. What are the benefits? We need to go for a stakeholder approach. That for government, what are the benefits for overall economy, for trade and industry, for consumer, for state? Okay. If you take the government perspective, a steady increase in tax collection from 95,000 crore to almost 1.6 lakh, 67 lakh crore rupees by May 2022. Formalization of economy, company must have a GST number to receive input tax credit. Yes. Technological advantage, AI and big data analysis for the policy making. Yes. Easier to administration. Taxation benefit such as streamlining taxation, increased tax compliance, discourage tax evasion. Okay. So these are the benefits for the government. Corporates, unified common market, mitigation of cascading effects, MSME friendly since they are allowed to have quarterly filing, okay, of returns and composite scheme. Reduction of tax burden post GST, most of the goods tax rate has reduced from 26.5% to almost 18%. Foster international trade, making Indian products more competitive. Yes. For state perspective, increase the revenue share for the state. And average revenue growth post GST is at 14% versus 9% in the previous tax regime. Seamless interstate movement due to removal of check post. Time has dropped by 20%. Fostering interstate trade, holistic development, yes. Cooperative fiscal federalism, most of the GST decisions are taken by consensus. Reduce illicit trade through e-way bills. Consumer perspective, affordable products. Okay. What are the way forward? Considering bringing petrol, electricity under GST, gradual withdrawal of GST compensation cess, clarification on newer asset classes like virtual digital asset, GST tribunal established them, it is still not established, central authority to resolve conflicting AAR judgments, and it is authority on advance ruling, AAR. Okay. So actually what happens is if you're buying it, say if you want to sell a product and if you don't know that in which category it would fall, and so if you don't know which category it will fall, then how would you classify it? So what amount of tax that you need to give, and further it does not create any future litigations. This authority on advance ruling, it is formed in every state. So this actually pronounces that whether that could be considered as oil, hair oil, whatever. Okay, and based on which they will be taxed. Okay, harnessing technology such as big data among others. Okay. What are the challenges to GST? Again, we can go for stakeholder approach, but here are a few challenges. The first is the federal challenge. The manufacturing state has been losing revenue. Fiscal autonomy of the state is compromised. Compensation issue, yes, compensation is to the end of July 2022 only. Uncertainty on utilization till 2026. Reluctance of center to share revenue from compensation. Trust deficit among states ruled by different ruling parties in the center. Minority states' voice suffer in GST Council, such as the case of Sikkim, Kerala. Okay. Union of India versus Mohit Mineral case 2022. The states are not bound by the recommendation of GST Council. Has complicated one nation one tax regime. Okay. State tax authorities lack capacity to quantify services. So far used in taxing goods. Delay in adjudicating disputes. GST appellate tribunal is yet to be notified. Inflation and revenue collection almost 14.7% in the nominal terms, but if we adjust with inflation, then only 3.7% in real terms. Okay. Conflicting orders from the state authorities for advance ruling, such as in the case of Papad, while the one in Karnataka has said that it is Papad and fryams. What is fryams? Fryams are the base of pizza toppings. Okay. So pizza home delivered attracts 18%, while eaten in restaurant attracts only 5%. Okay, from the corporate perspective, the ITC issue, yes, the cross utilization of SGST and CGST is a major issue. Bogus bill, no receipt scam in yes, bogus bill or no receipt scam in Bhavnagar. Complexity of tax filing, such as in the case of MSME. Levying of additional cess, 22% over 28% GST on luxury goods and sin goods. Dispute regarding classification of products. Concern raised by banks and insurance companies over the need for multiple registration under GST. Okay. What are the technological challenges? The GST network, such as Infosys, is facing many technical glitches, crashed several times in the past. Okay. From consumer perspective, frequent changes in tax rates, yes. The cess over luxury good like automobile financials, automobile sector, lack of coverage, such as petrol, liquor, electricity is outside, multiple tax regimes, high rate of tax for 18% for most of the prominent GST slabs. Okay. Talking about, so that was about GST. Okay. Talking about infrastructure, let us see. Infrastructure. India needs $1.4 trillion on infra by 2025, according to Economic Survey 2019-20. India's total investment in infrastructure is about 10 lakh crore rupees. Okay. So we need to increase this. Real estate sector is contributing 6% of the GDP. Global competitiveness index. Infra quality is very low, 70 out of 140, which is again a poor ranking. 1600, almost say like in 20% of the projects we are finding cost overrun. Okay. And time escalation of about 49 months in almost many of the projects. Okay, so we can see that cost overrun and time escalation is one of the biggest challenges, and that is why nobody, even private sector, is reluctant to invest because of the issues such as land acquisition. Okay, so you need to work on this. Now, what are the government initiatives? It has created a special purpose vehicle, a land bank to sell the land parcel to central public service enterprises. Okay, national investment pipeline of 101 lakh crore rupees. Okay, talking about national logistic policy 2022, India's 200 billion logistics sector contributes 14% of the GDP, but cost as much as 14% of the GDP. Okay, to transport thing. Okay, it contributes 14%. It is also having a problem of nearly 14% of the GDP for transporting a product from Delhi to Kandla. National logistic policy aims to reduce those costs by to 8% by 2030. Logistic cost in India is at 40%, US is at 8%, and the Europe it is at 10%. Okay. Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti Master Plan. Okay. It brings it is a portal to bring 16 ministers together for integrated planning and implementation of infrastructure connectivity. Okay, the projects worth 100 lakh crore project would be included in this Gati Shakti Master Plan. Okay, you did not read any of this anymore. It is old news now. Okay, so leave this. Type of investment models. What are the type of investment models? Public investment model as counter-cyclical fiscal policy of economic recovery. Type of investment model, we have the public investment model, you have the private investment model, and the third is the public-private partnership model. Okay, it works on 4R, that is resources, risk, responsibility, and rewards. Okay. PPP is an arrangement between government and the private sector for provision of public assets and public services. It is alternative for a developing country wherein neither public sector nor private sector has enough capacity to complete their task. So they both has to come together. What are the advantages? The private investment, technology, efficiency, management, innovation, expertise, planning, and public incentives. trust and assurance. Okay. A defined allocation of risk between private and public, open competitive bidding, performance linked payments. Yes. PPP involves full retention and responsibility by the government for providing the service. It doesn't amount to privatization. Okay. Model of PPP, such as commonly adopted models, are build, operate, transfer, build, own, operate, build, operate, lease, transfer, design, build, operate, transfer, lease, develop, operate, operate, maintain, transfer. So these are the few models. It is not that important. Okay, what are the problems with PPP projects? Okay, you can go by stakeholder. What are the problems from the public sector, private sector? Okay, what are the issue with the partnership itself? So 3P, you can go for 3Ps. Okay, the first is non-availability of capital and regulatory hurdles related to acquisition of land. Regulation of PPP is in practice. Regulating PPPs in practice is very difficult. Metro projects become site of crony capitalism and means of accumulating land. Okay. By private companies, it conduits to crony capitalism. PPP firms use every opportunity for renegotiating contracts by citing reasons like lower revenue or rise in the cost, which becomes a norm in India. It results into drain of large share of public resources, creates a moral hazard by their opportunistic behavior. Okay. Way forward, Vijay Kelkar committee on PPP has told something we need to see. Better allocation of risk between the stakeholders, viability gap funding, PPP adjudication capital, yes. And unsolicited proposals such, through Swiss challenge should be discouraged. Amend the Prevention of Corruption Act to distinguish between genuine error and decision making and act of corruption. National PPP policy, okay. National Facilitation Committee to ensure time-bound resolution of issues, okay. Set up an institution of excellence in PPP, provide policy input, timely advice, and undertake sustainable capacity building, okay. What are the conclusions? The government has no business in doing business and thereby promote private sector investment and participation towards nation building, okay. New public sector enterprises policy disinvestment to 2020-21, wherein it has decided the mere minimum presence of government in each sector. Four sectors are identified, four core sectors are identified, in which two they'll have only one. That is the bare minimum public sector enterprise to be there, and rest all will be privatized. Okay, International Financial Service Center Authority. Okay, it is a news of bygone era, so we will not study. Vehicle scrappage policy, again it's older news. National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development Bill 2021 is again an old news. Okay, waterways. India only about 0.15% of the domestic surface transport is accounted by inland water transport. Okay, compared to 68% by road and 30% from rail. Okay, the first class of cargo consignment at multimodal terminal at Varanasi, inaugurating national waterway from Hooghly to Varanasi. Okay. Okay, let us see. From Hooghly to Varanasi is National Highway 1, National Waterway 1. Wherever National Waterway 2 is from Brahmaputra to in Brahmaputra. National Waterway number 3 is here in the western coast. Okay, from Udyog Mandalam to Chappakarmar Canal. Okay, National Waterway number 4 is from Kakinada Canal. It extends all the way to Komundumuru Canal and Buckingham Canal. Okay, it reaches from Andhra Pradesh, the coastal Andhra, all the way to Tamil Nadu. Okay, National Waterway number 5 is in the this Brahmani is on the Brahmani River. Okay, so these are the national waterways. Okay, what are the benefits? Improving the ease of doing business, especially in the Noida Kolkata Industrial Corridor. Connectivity between India and Bangladesh through waterway, reducing smuggling from water. Negligible acquisition in densely located Krishna Godavari Basin, Guwahati. Okay. Uh, Hooghly Varanasi stretch. Help achieve INDC by reducing carbon emission. Minimum flow of river water will become necessity. Okay. Cost of products will be reduced. Okay. What are the concern? Endangered Gangetic dolphin, environmental issues, Dolphin National Park in Patna, siltation issues, yes, infrastructure like early warning system, cloudburst, multimodal hubs, international disputes such as the Faraka barrage or Ganga. Okay, so these are the concerns. Government incentives, Inland Waterway Authority of India. Okay, Central Road Fund when amendment to amend it to allocate 2.5% of the fund for waterways. Okay, ladies portal at least available depth to aid ensuring optimum use of national waterway. Okay, talking about ports, major port authority of act and a landlord model of leasing it to the private sector. Okay, private ports handle about 43% of the cargo. Port 90% trade by volume, 70% trade by value, and port capacity of about 1,000 million metric ton. We have the initiatives such as Sagarmala initiative, which aims to ensure port-led development, holistic development of ports, and a coastal development, harnessing blue economy, we're connecting roads and railways to the for ports. Okay, Major Port Authority Act 2021, and a Major Port Authority Board landlord model. Okay, average turnaround time in India is very high, which is at 59 hours. Earlier it was in 64, but it has now reached 59, which is a good thing, but still something more needs to be done. Talking about roads, we have Bharatmala initiative. Number of people killed by road accident is at 1.5 lakh each year, highest than people killed by terror attacks and natural calamities. Okay, more than 50% of vehicles are uninsured. We are signatory to 2015 Brazil Declaration to reduce road accidents by 50%, but unfortunately that is a very far distant dream. Okay, railway, talking about railway, we have a dedicated freight corridor. We have about 6 corridors, okay, which is developed by Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. We have the eastern dedicated freight corridor from Ludhiana in Punjab to Dankuni in West Bengal. Okay, and the western we have from Dadri all the way to Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, so which is under construction, which is almost finished. Should take another maybe a couple of years, maybe 1 year or two could be finished. It is going to be very very fast because that is a dedicated freight corridor. That is only good trains. We have 2 tracks. Only goods train will comply on it, and one would be going in the north direction, and the one would coming in the southern direction. So you can see that how fast it would become. Right. Okay. So we have from Dadri to JNPT. I'm sorry. Dankuni to Ludhiana. Okay. So we are also making some other projects. Okay. Let's talk about energy. India imports about 75% of its oil demand. India is the third largest consumer of crude oil after US and China. Yes. According to Indian Energy Agency, International Energy Agency, India has provided 500 million people electricity in 2000 since 2000. That means 50 crore people. It is the greatest success of 21st century. Yes. Total energy demand of India is 753 million metric ton in calendar year 2017. The peak electricity demand was at 220 gigawatts. Okay, so no need to remember this. Health policy, yes. Energy efficiency, total energy saving in India is of 2.69%. While Perform Achieve Trade, PAT, contributed 57% of energy saving. Ujala led to another 37%. Okay. And industry contributed about 50% of the steam. Okay. What are the government initiatives for energy efficiency? The Energy Conservation Act, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, National Mission for Enhancing Efficiency, yes. Energy Efficiency Service Limited, it's a public sector enterprise. We have Perform Achieve Trade, Star Rated Appliances, Energy Conservation Building Code 2017, Ujala, Zero Effect, Zero Defect, Griha initiative. Okay, so these are the government initiatives. For financing, we have Energy Efficiency Financing Platform, Green Bond, International Platform for Sustainable Financing. Okay, talking about natural gas, about 16%, 6.18% of the energy demand is met by total energy natural gas. Target is of 15% and the import dependency is of 60%. Okay, so here is a diagram of oil pipes. See, combined with methane. Okay, we have gas and crude oil. This is oil and gas rich shale. Migration of oil and gas over geologic time. Okay, this is confining layer, sandstone, vertical well, oil, we have gas. Okay, consumption in India is going to increase because government efforts, Paris Climate Treaty obligations, CNG vehicles are increasing, which require CNG pumps, gas-based economy target. Okay, benefits of natural gas: good calorific value than coal. A gas-fired power station takes much less time to start and stop than coal-fired plants. We have a Rouge reservoir. Okay, unconventional gas source, coal bed methane, shale gas, tight gas, low permeability rock, gas hydrates. Okay, the coal bed methane or coal seam gas found in coal deposits formed during the transformation of plant material into coal under the high pressure and temperature under the absence of oxygen. What are the challenges? The extraction of coal bed methane involves disposal of highly salinized water, which can pollute fresh water. Correct simulation of gas content is difficult. Methane is a greenhouse gas which could lead to global warming and wildlife habitat gets disturbed. Okay, we have gas hydrate. It is naturally occurring ice-like combination of natural gas and water found in the polar regions. Okay, generally along the continental margins and polar continent settings. Okay, it could lead to ocean acidification, the release of methane to ocean and atmosphere. Cost of technology is very high. Yes. So the shale gas refers to natural gas that is trapped within the sedimentary rocks formation, which is rich in petroleum. How to extract it? By extracting by drilling, horizontal, vertical, hydraulic fracking. Gore gums is used to open cracks and rock available natural gas to flow. Okay. Challenge associated: the drilling and fracturing of the well requires large amount of water, may contaminate groundwater with methane, greenhouse gas. Yes, hydraulic fracking process may trigger seismic activities. Shale gas in India. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas have identified 6 basins: Krishna Godavari, Cambay, Assam, Arakam, Indo-Ganga Plains, Gondwana, and Kaveri Basin. Okay? So these are the 6 places where you can find gas. What are the government efforts? One nation, one gas grid, domestic gas supply, Indian gas exchange, free to discover market price, petroleum and natural gas regulatory board, help, PM Urja gas, Urja Ganga City gas pipeline, Satat Ujjwala scheme, under the government, Gujarat government efforts, the CNG Sahbagi Yojana, 300 CNGs in past 3 months only. Okay, yes. Talking about hydrocarbon, that is crude oil, the need is of 200. I leave this. 9 hydrocarbon basins in India: the Krishna Godavari Basin, Mumbai Oxford, Assam Shelf, Rajasthan, Kaveri, Assam Arakam Fold Belt, okay, Kembe, Kembe, Bengal Basin, and Vindhyan Basin. Okay, what are the issues? We can go from stakeholder approach that the say Indian refinery, crude oil supply, Middle East, oil embargo, privacy, oil spill, cartel, among others. Okay, pile stage emission standards. It was based on Mashalkar Committee, Euro-based emission norms, Bharat Stage 4 by 2020, sulfur reduced to 10 parts per million. I think I beg your pardon, Bharat Stage 6 by 2020, diesel particulate matter reduced by 60 to 70%, selective catalyst reduction to reduce NOx emission by 68% in diesel and 25% in petrol. Okay, so a lot of reduction. Okay, biofuel. Fuel that is produced through contemporary biological process such as agriculture and anaerobic digestion rather than fuel produced by geological process. Okay, methanol 15% blend. Okay, methanol 15% blend M15 in petrol will reduce pollution by 23%. Diesel replacement by methanol will reduce more than 80%. National Biofuel Policy, viability gap funding of 5,000 crore rupees, classification of biofuel, blending target of 5% biofuel diesel and 20% ethanol. Now this has reduced, brought to 2025. Okay, National Biofuel Coordination Committee to grant approval by using surplus of ethanol production. FSI has taken initiatives such as RUCO, that is repurchasing used cooking oil, RUCO. Okay. What are the types of biofuel? We have bioethanol, alcohol prepared from starch from wheat, corn, sugarcane, molasses, potato, and other fruits. Biodiesel is from oil, fat, including animal fats, vegetable oil, nut oil, algae. Biogas, a mixture of gas produced by the breakdown of organic matter in the absence of oxygen. Okay. Aviation biofuel, recently a SpiceJet operated the first biofuel flight in India. Okay. Different generation of biofuel. The first generation is from the food crop such as wheat, sugarcane, bioethanol, while oil seeds for biodiesel. Okay. Second generation biofuel is from non-food crops such as wood, organic waste, food crop residue, specific biomass crops overcome limitation of the first generation. Yes. The third generation is from algae. Okay. The fourth generation is from advanced biofuel, that is electrofuel and photobiological solar fuels. Okay. So this is in the process. These two are still have been supported by viability gap funding. Okay. What are the benefits of biofuel? No transportation issue, yes. Decentralized production, import reduction, forest conservation, INDC target achievement, pollution reduction, crop residue burning near Punjab and Haryana can be reduced. Bumper harvesting, yes. Reducing ember box subsidy. Municipality waste currently at 26 million metric ton per year can be utilized for this thing. Okay. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is an emergency fuel store of which can be about, I leave this number. A strategic crude oil enough to provide 10 days of extra fuel. Okay, maintained by Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserve Limited. Indian International Energy Agency has said that at least there should be a 90% strategic reserve. What are the present sites? We have Mangalore, Visakhapatnam, Padur. Others 3 sites have been developed in Chandigarh, Bikaner, and Rajasthan. Rajkot, I beg your pardon. Why do we need strategic reserve? In case of oil embargo, such as in the 1973 oil embargo by OPEC, instability in West Asia, Iran being sanctioned, war times, such as in the case of Israel-Hamas war, okay, can be used when international crude oil prices are very high. Okay. Talking about coal, leave this. About 56% of the India's requirement is met by coal. Fifth largest coal reserve, yes, 47% import. Plant matter that have not decomposed totally and is preserved in the fossil form. With time, pressure, and temperature, it becomes a coal. Four types of coal in India. We have anthracite coal. The coal content, the carbon content is at 95%, such as in the case of Jammu and Kashmir. We have the bituminous coal. Carbon content is at 50 to 80%. We have the lignite and the brown coal. Carbon content is at 40 to 50%. We find this kind of coal in, say, Lakhpat region of Kutch. Okay, Panandro. We have it Ney Valley in Tamil Nadu. Okay, peat, less than 40% of the carbon. Okay, problems with India coal is that first it is mainly lignite and bituminous. It is difficult to transport to the longer distance because of the high amount of moisture content in lignite. It also has low calorific value. Okay, mainly lignite and bituminous, high moisture content, low calorific value, high ash content. It creates pollution. Non-coking grade coal, environment clearance is very difficult. Tribal resistance and poor rehabilitation and compensation, such as in the case of Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, which has led to Red Corridor, that is the next Naxalism in the region. Policy delay, as well Supreme Court has cancelled coal allocation, yes. Fluctuating demand, yes. Huge NPA in power sector. Use of poor technology, yes. Railway network is very bad. Freight charges are very high. Coal India monopoly, yes. Okay. Okay, talking about energy security, this is the overall energy pie chart of India. 52%, nearly 52% by coal, hydropower is 13%, nuclear is 2, wind is 10, solar is 15, others are 3. Okay, natural gas is at 6%. Okay, so all in all, if you see that about how much would be, okay, so 52, say almost about 40%. 40% of our energy demand is met by renewable source of energy. Okay, nuclear energy contributes about 1.15%. What is the science? The fissile material is a material capable of sustaining nuclear fusion chain reaction. Australia has almost about 33%, Kazakhstan next 12%, Canada 8%. Okay, material is uranium 235, plutonium 239, uranium 233. Okay, but only about uranium 235 is available in natural form in small quantity along with uranium 238, which is a fertile material. So uranium 235 has to be enriched in order to use as a nuclear fuel. Fertile material, uranium 238, thorium 232. Okay, moderator to slow down the emitted neutrons, graphite, heavy water, beryllium oxide. Okay, so they are used. Control rods are used to stop the nuclear fusion reaction, cadmium or boron rods. Okay. What converts to what when neutron strikes? So uranium 238 converts to plutonium 239, which then converts to thorium 232 and then uranium 233. Okay. India has three-stage nuclear power program. Homi Bhabha in 1950s. Yes. Ultimate focus is to enable thorium reserve in India to be utilized for meeting energy requirements. Indian reserve is almost at 1 to 2% of uranium and 25% of thorium in the which is the largest in the world. Okay, talking about stage 1, the pressurized heavy water reactor is the stage 1. The fuel is natural uranium 238 and plus 235. Okay, moderator is heavy water, coolant is heavy water, byproduct is plutonium 239. Natural uranium contains only about 0.7% of the fissile isotope of 235. Most of the remaining 99.3% is uranium 238. Okay, which is not fissile but can be converted in a reactor to the fissile isotope plutonium-239. Okay. What are the concerns? Nuclear waste, local people protest. Okay, according to population pollution, such as in the case of Fukushima, insurance issues, liability issues. Okay, so everybody knows about Fukushima, right? In 2011, it so happened because of the tsunami. All the ocean water went into Fukushima nuclear power plant, and all the motors got destroyed. Even the electricity supply from generator got destroyed, and because of which it was a nuclear disaster. Okay. Stage 2, we have fast breeder in reactor in Kalpakam, Tamil Nadu. Okay. And fuel is plutonium-239. Moderator is not used. Coolant is liquid sodium. Once the inventory of plutonium-239 is built up, thorium can be introduced as a blanket material in the reactor and transmuted to uranium-233 for the use in third stage. Okay. Generate more fissile fuel than it consumes. Okay. Advanced heavy water reactor. Fuel is thorium 238 and 233. Output is energy plus uranium 233, which is a self-sustaining, and it is a less wasteful. The advantage of thorium is less water, less radioactive, cannot be used in nuclear weapons, renewable energy sources, self-sustaining uranium 223, more abundant in nature. India has the largest reserve. Okay. International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. Objective: to demonstrate the possibility of producing commercial energy from nuclear fusion, situated in France. Okay, what is the way forward for renewable energy? You can actually imagine. Okay, 136 gigawatt. Uh, Currently, it is about 40%, but India's target is about 64% by 2050. Okay, it is estimated to reach that place. Renewable could lower the demand by almost 23% by 2030. INDC target is of 175 gigawatts, which has been increased to 450 gigawatts and by 2050. Okay, I beg your pardon, 2030. Why investment in renewable energy? Sunshine country, yes. Energy security, global warming and climate change, large coastal regions suitable for offshore wind farm, lowering tariff of renewable energies, decentralizing energy production, pollution-free, INDC targets, yes. Issues can be political, social, economical, technological, ecological, yes, you can think on that line. High initial cost, absence of decentralized energy market, infra. India's grid system is already very stressed. Okay. There was a recent case in Rajasthan where the energy was produced in the desert by solar power plant, but they did not construct green grid corridor. So because of which a lot of energy was getting wasted. Okay. Dependency on weather, environmental issues, yes. Import dependency of 60%. Okay. Land acquisition is issue, tribal protest, large hydro projects, right? Migratory species such as flamingo in Kutch region of Gujarat, if there is a project of, say, hybrid, they're planning to create a hybrid solar wind farm of 30 gigawatts, which is very, very high. Imagine 30 gigawatts altogether. So that is going to be a bigger challenge for this migratory species such as flamingo. Rates in some new renewable sources are still very high. Power companies are lobbying, not letting push from the government. Ecological cost of large hydro projects. Okay. Promotion of renewable energy. Well, IRADA, Indian Renewable Energy Development Authority agency. We have created this green energy corridor, green term ahead market, renewable purchase obligation, Kusum, uh, Govardhan, biogas co-firing. Okay, in solar, leave this. Electricity produced from sun through semiconductor solar panels. Tropical country, Gujarat and Rajasthan. Two types: photovoltaic electricity and solar thermal electricity. Okay, 9 watts solar module manufacturing per year capacity in India. 9 gigawatts, I beg your pardon. National Solar Mission, Solar Energy Corporation of India, Solar Mini Grid Project, Kusum, among others. Okay. World Solar Hybrid Project Policy, Wind Solar Hybrid Policy, 30 gigawatt hybrid plant in Kutch region in the 73,000 hectares. National Gujarat Wind Solar Hybrid Policy, scheme for development of wind solar hybrid plant. One world, one sun, one grid. Gujarat has almost about 30 gigawatt hybrid solar power, wind power. The target is to reach 65 gigawatts by 2025. Okay, current installed capacity in Gujarat is at 3 gigawatts, 3.2 gigawatts. Okay. National Gujarat Solar Policy 2021. No restriction on deployment of solar rooftop. Okay. Moving on. Wind is a kinetic energy associated with the movement of wind, and is the fourth largest in the world, currently at 42 gigawatts, and that is always changing. National Offshore Wind Energy Policy 2015, 5 gigawatts by 2022. Okay, exclusive economic zone for offshore wind. Okay, two kinds: onshore and offshore. Okay, Gujarat has capacity of 5.5 gigawatts. Okay, expression of interest for the country's first 1 gigawatt offshore wind power plant in Gulf of Kobat is already in process. Talking about e-mobility, 1% of 1% market. Okay, of which 95% is for two-wheelers. So eventually, gradually that is improving. FAME 2.0, yes, National Electric Mobility Mission Plan. E-bus GST to 12% from 18%. PLI for batteries. Target is to achieve 30% of all vehicles by EV by 2030. Okay. What are the issues? We know that we can go from by stakeholders approach such as technological, economical, resource charging, heavy load, power supply, lithium import, among others. Okay. Ocean energy, ocean thermal energy, it uses temperature difference between the surface of the ocean and the depth of the ocean of about 100 meters. Okay, ocean thermal energy, wave energy, tidal energy. You know everything about this, right? So we will not study on them. What is the potential? It is at about 124 gigawatts. I beg your pardon, 12 gigawatts, and wave energy it is about 40 gigawatts. Okay. Hydrogen-based energy, it is an important topic. Green hydrogen from water. Okay. Grey from fossil fuel. Blue is derived from natural gas. Green hydrogen opportunities for deep decarbonization of India was realized by NITI Aayog. So you can actually go through this document, or you can quote this document. Okay. What are the components? First is we need power. We need electrolyzer, and that electrolyzer converts. It actually breaks down water, and it actually breaks down water, and oxygen is separated and hydrogen is separated. Okay, and once the hydrogen is separated, it is stored. Okay, what are the issue is of storage? We need to store it at minus 233 degrees Celsius. Round the clock electricity is required in the electrolysis process. Okay, what are the government efforts? Again, National Hydrogen Mission, Hydrogen Energy Board, 2021, Summit for Green Hydrogen Initiative, National Hydrogen Mission, okay, Energy Mission, Hydrogen Corporation Fund. Okay, the Indian Oil Corporation is developing H2 fuel cell in Faridabad. Okay, now what are the way forward? Around the clock renewable power, blending green hydrogen with blue energy, blue and grey, research and development, decentralized hydrogen, end-to-end electrolyzer, domestic manufacturing facility, hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle, among others. So yes, Large hydros, such as use of kinetic energy of moving water to make electricity, current rate is at 25 gigawatts. And still many hydroelectric projects are, large hydro projects are in pipeline. But the problem is that there are many issues. Okay, so you can think of issues from political, social, economical, okay, legal, ecological. Okay, so if you think from that direction, then you'll be able to better, find the lacunas. Okay, okay, thank you.